Hey there, different kind of video for you guys today. I want to reflect a little bit about the season so far, things I've learned this summer, and some changes moving forwards and all that kind of stuff. It's a rainy day today, so I figured I might just hang out on my front porch and talk to you guys, and also using this microphone. What do you guys think about this? Anyways, a lot happened this year. I know it's been a challenging year for many of us in lots of different ways, and as you guys know, I restarted the farm here. Basically had to rebuild everything from scratch and learn quite a bit. And so those are the things I want to talk about. But the main things really are, my time management and balancing the farm. I know I've talked about this over the last few years and trying to figure out how to fit farming in my life and keep it part-time and be able to do YouTube and all that other kind of stuff. So I think that's part of it too. Another thing was just the actual growth and harvesting and sales and the business side of it and those kinds of things. So let's get into first, how did the growing go this year? Well, as you guys probably saw if you've been following along on the channel, had a really strong start at the beginning of the year after we built the tunnels, put the beds in there, and planted them, and it was great. Just as crops are coming online, restaurants are opening back up, and did really, really well. Had some really, really big weeks in there, and really was happy to connect with some of the chefs I've been working with in the past, and also some new chefs, and it was just awesome. And so as the restaurants opened back up, sold a lot, and it was great. And then what happened is I couldn't reach my demand anymore. I was growing as much as I could and just basically selling out every week, which was fantastic. And the other part of it is once the heat started coming in the summer, my yields on stuff like greens and things like that started going down, and I really had trouble keeping up with demand. And through the middle of the summer, I had a lot of trouble growing stuff with the heat, which was kind of expected. I knew I'd be getting lower yields, but also one of the biggest things or struggles I had was our groundhog. And I think I've mentioned him if you've been watching a lot of videos, Phil. And so Phil has been here for a long time, but hasn't really been a problem until recently, and he started wiping out beds. So I lost most of my beds, all my carrots, a bunch of my greens. He came through and munched them down, and they're either total losses or almost total losses, and so it really put me behind a lot in my planting, which is really unfortunate. You have crops that are kind of not performing as well in the heat, and then you have another pest that comes in. So Phil's okay. He's just he's no longer around, so we have that taken care of moving forwards, which is great. But I think the biggest takeaway is always that Mother Nature is very humbling, and we think we have all this control in what we're growing, what we're doing, and it can be taken away from you just like that. And, that's what I've realized. And, anyways, another part of it was crop selection, and I didn't know exactly what to grow, and I really dialed in my crops, which I think I know what I need to grow now. And that's based on, my customers, because I'm selling only to chefs right now. And as they've reopened, their menus and stuff have changed and their demands have changed. And when I was talking to them in the spring, they didn't really know. And that's really not that uncommon for chefs. They're not necessarily going to know exactly what they're looking for until you put a bunch of stuff in front of them and they go, oh, I want this, I want that. So basically, I've whittled down my crop selection to growing lettuce mix, carrots, and beets, as I mentioned in that crop video that I did recently. And in the summer, the sweet peppers are doing great, and I'm going to be switching over to full-size red Russian kale for the wintertime. What I noticed about kale in particular for my chefs is that they weren't really interested in baby kale so much because they want to cook with the kale. They want braising greens. A lot of them will have a braising greens dish, so they'll be using like the tops of beets, so beet greens and kale and chard and collards and stuff like that. So some of those kinds of crops can do really well, and so that's what I'm going to focus on is the red Russian kale. Plus, our family loves to eat it, so we'll be continuing to grow that this winter. So right now, as I said, a lot of crop losses, and I'm just being upfront with you guys about it. And I'm replanting everything now as quickly as I can, and I don't want to diversify my crop selection too much because I won't have enough of things. So I'm just going to stick to the plan, focus on the fall and the winter, and we should be in good shape. Another thing I realized, which really confirmed my decision about not growing next summer, was this summer, in that physically, I didn't really want to be out in the heat, and I know all of you guys who are out there farming this summer, especially in the South, you'll understand it was brutal in that not only do you have the really hot days, but it really wasn't cooling off at night. So even if you get out early, you get out at 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, it's still really hot outside. So not only was it tough on the farmer physically, but the crops really suffered just because they don't really cool down as much. And I was misting during the day and all that stuff, but that's a whole nother thing. But physically, like, I didn't really want to be out there farming for too many hours during the day, and it really limited my production in that sense as well. So I think next summer is going to be awesome, taking time off, which I've mentioned before, and having that third tunnel come online and planting out for, basically that hunger gap in February and March will be crucial. I really enjoy farming in the winter. It's just much more slow paced, and we can grow a lot of stuff here. So that should be good. The tunnels and all the stuff with the rain management has worked out great with all the storms. It's really lowered my stress level quite a bit with that. But I think that strategy of not growing in the summer is going to be fantastic. On to time management. This has always been an ongoing struggle. As you guys know, I have a wife and 2 kids, and I'm trying to juggle this YouTube channel and my work with no-till growers and my videography and all that kind of stuff. And so I've been keeping my hours down on the farm, but it's always that balancing act for sure. And I cut down making videos on this channel from 2 videos a week to 1 video a week, as you guys probably noticed. But also, I restarted my second channel, and I don't want to get too into that today, but it's called Content on Content. I will leave a link down below for that. I did start it last fall, and then realized that, with moving farms and all that stuff, it was just too much for me. So it's focused on videography, filmmaking, content creation. If you're interested in that stuff, go check it out. I'm really excited about it, and I'm going to be having a lot of content creators share their thoughts and stuff on there too. So again, not to be a big pitch about it, but just letting you guys know what I'm up to and continuing my work with no-till growers. Got a lot of stuff going on there and all those kinds of things, just keeping really busy. Figured I'd give you a little bit of an update from the porch. It is definitely a rainy day today, yeah, anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this, and maybe I'll just keep mixing up the content like I usually do. Thanks so much for watching. Hit subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you in the next one.